Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be diving into lean manufacturing.
Okay.
Specifically, we're going to be focusing on the culture side of things. You know how to get that organizational culture humming along to really make your lean efforts successful.
Right.
And you probably already know that the tools and techniques of lean are important. But did you know that experts believe that a full 80% of lean success actually comes down to the human element?
Wow.
That's a big chunk.
That is.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So that's why we have our expert here to help us break this down. Understand what makes a lean culture tick.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how much emphasis is placed on that human side of things.
Hmm.
You think about lean, you think about efficiency, you think about automation. But that real magic happens when people actually embrace those principles.
So true. To really appreciate where a lean culture fits in, I think it helps to kind of rewind the clock a little bit and trace how lean manufacturing evolved. Our source takes us all the way back to Henry Ford's assembly line. Revolutionary for its time. It had its limitations, though, right?
So
It did.
absolutely. Ford's system really prioritized standardized output above all else. Like it was incredibly efficient at producing large volumes of identical products.
Yeah.
But this focus on efficiency, it came at a cost. It came at the expense of adaptability. So things like customer needs, market demands. Those were really secondary considerations.
Right. It was all about churning out those Model Ts
Yes.
like clockwork.
Exactly.
And that's where Toyota's approach really shook things up.
Yeah. They pioneered what's known as just-in-time manufacturing, which prioritized customer demand and flexibility.
Huge shift.
It was.
Yeah.
This shift from a push to a pull system
Mm-hmm.
really marked a turning point, I think, in manufacturing.
Yeah.
And it's important to understand what those terms mean
Yeah.
in a push system.
Yeah.
Production is based on forecasts and predetermined schedules. So you make a bunch of stuff and hope someone buys it. But with a pull system like Toyota's just-in-time, production is actually triggered by customer orders.
Yeah.
So materials and products are pulled through the system only when they're needed.
That makes a lot of sense. No more warehouses overflowing with unwanted inventory.
Right.
It's like a dance between supply and demand.
Yes.
Where every step is carefully choreographed.
A very efficient dance, indeed. Take the Kanban system, for example. It's a signaling system, often using simple cards that tell workers what to produce when and how much. This ensures that materials are replenished only as they're used, which minimizes waste and keeps production aligned with real-time demand.
So if Ford was all about mass production, Toyota was about producing the right things at the right time with minimal waste.
Exactly.
And our source highlights some really ambitious goals that lean manufacturing aims to achieve. We're talking things like cutting costs in half,
Right.
reaching Six Sigma quality, and boosting productivity by a whopping 40%,
That's huge.
all without hiring more staff or buying more equipment.
Yeah, those are impressive goals. And they really get to the heart of what lean is all about, transforming how an organization operates at every level.
It sounds almost too good to be true. Can you give us an example of a company that's actually pulled this off?
Absolutely. Take WireMold, a
Hmm.
company that makes electrical wiring systems. Back in the 80s, they were facing some serious challenges: high costs, long lead times, inefficient production processes. All of this threatened their competitiveness. They decided to embrace lean thinking. They focused on eliminating waste and streamlining their operations. And what's remarkable is they managed to cut their manufacturing lead times from 16 weeks down to just 1 week.
Wow,
And they did it while slashing inventory and improving quality.
that's incredible.
It is.
It's a real-world example of lean in action. But this brings us to a crucial point. It's not enough to just apply lean tools and techniques like
Yeah.
there's some magic formula.
Yeah, that's where the culture conundrum comes in.
Yeah.
Tools are just tools. You need a culture that truly embraces and embodies
Mhm.
the principles of lean found.
So how do you build a culture that's ready for a lean transformation? What are the key ingredients?
Well, according to our source, it all starts with 3 fundamental pillars: training the role of management and cross-functional teams.
Okay, let's break those down. Let's start with training. It's not simply about teaching people how to use lean tools. It's about instilling a deep understanding
Right.
of why lean matters.
Right.
So it's not just about learning the moves, it's about understanding the music, the rhythm of the dance.
Exactly. You need to create a shared understanding of how lean aligns with the organization's vision and goals. And this brings us to our second pillar, the role of management. Leaders need to be more than just overseers of implementation. They need to be champions of lean.
So they're not just giving orders from the sidelines, they're on the field playing the game.
Absolutely. They need to actively build structures that support lean, drive that change process and ensure that it sticks. Think of them as architects, designing a building
Yeah,
with lean principles built into its very foundation.
I like that. And finally, we have cross-functional teams.
Yeah.
A key ingredient for success. Cross-functional teams, I'm picturing like a superhero team
Yeah.
with members from different departments, like marketing, sales, production, each with their own superpowers.
I love that analogy. These teams bring together diverse perspectives and expertise, breaking down those silos that often hinder innovation.
It's about harnessing that collective brainpower of the organization
Mm-hmm.
to solve problems and adapt to change.
That's
But
amazing.
even with a clear vision and all the right ingredients in place, things can still go wrong, right?
That's true. Even with the best intentions,
Yeah.
organizations can fall into some common traps when implementing lean.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
with the best training, the best management commitment, and these fantastic cross-functional teams, organizations often stumble because of certain pitfalls. What are some of the most common mistakes that companies make when trying to create a lean culture? What are some of the things that can trip them up along the way?
One of the biggest pitfalls is failing to involve the people who will actually be doing the work.
Yeah.
It's like trying to design a new kitchen without consulting the chef.
Yeah.
You might end up with a beautiful space, but if it doesn't function well, for the person using it every day, it's a failure.
So you're saying that getting buy-in from employees at every level
Yeah.
is critical for lean to succeed.
It is.
Can you elaborate on why that's so important?
Absolutely. Lean is all about empowering those closest to the work to identify problems, propose solutions, and drive those improvements. When people feel like their voices are heard and their expertise is valued, they're more likely to embrace change.
Right.
But if they feel like lean is being imposed on them from above without their input, you're likely to encounter resistance and resentment.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about respecting the knowledge and experience of those on the front lines.
Yeah.
What are some other pitfalls organizations should be aware of?
Another common mistake is a lack of continuous commitment from top management.
Okay.
Lean isn't a one-and-done project. It's an ongoing journey that requires sustained effort.
So it's not just about launching a lean initiative with a big splash. It's about fostering a culture where continuous improvement is embedded in everything you do.
Exactly.
What happens when leaders don't demonstrate this ongoing commitment?
When leaders lose sight of that long-term vision or shift their focus to other priorities, the lean initiative can easily lose momentum.
Yeah.
Employees might start to think that lean is just another flavor of the month, leading to skepticism and disengagement.
It's like setting out on a cross-country road trip and then deciding to turn around halfway because you get bored or distracted.
Yeah.
You might have covered some ground, but you won't reach your destination.
Exactly. To successfully implement lean, leaders need to demonstrate unwavering commitment and keep that long-term vision in sight, even when faced with challenges or setbacks. It's about leading by example and showing employees that lean is here to stay.
So to recap, we've got two major pitfalls to avoid: not involving employees and inconsistent leadership commitment. What else can trip organizations up on their lean journey?
The third pitfall we often see is the dangerous, our industry is different excuse.
The "but we're special" syndrome.
Exactly. Some organizations really get caught in the trap of believing that lean principles just don't apply to their specific industry or their business model.
While specific applications might need to be tailored to different contexts.
Right? The underlying principles of lean: eliminating waste, improving flow, focusing on customer value. These are remarkably adaptable across a wide range of industries.
It's like having a basic recipe that you can adapt to create different dishes. You might adjust the ingredients, the spices, or the cooking time. But the fundamental techniques remain the same.
That's a great way to put it. A truly successful lean transformation requires a willingness to challenge assumptions and embrace the idea that continuous improvement is possible in any setting. It's about having the vision to see beyond the surface differences and identify those underlying principles that can drive positive change.
So avoiding these pitfalls really comes down to having the right leadership in place. And this takes us back to something we touched on earlier: the need for inspired leadership in lean transformations. Our source emphasizes this quite a bit. What does that actually look like in practice? What are the qualities of a leader? Who can truly inspire a culture of continuous improvement?
That's a great question. And I think the pitfalls we just discussed can provide some valuable insights.
Hmm.
into the qualities of an effective lean leader,
Okay.
for example. That first pitfall, not involving employees, points to the importance of humility.
Humility. How so?
A leader who embodies humility understands
Mm.
that they don't have all the answers. They're willing to listen to and learn from those they lead, recognizing that valuable insights and ideas can come from anywhere with the organization. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty and work alongside their team, understanding that true leadership is about service and empowerment.
It's about creating a culture of respect where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute.
And-
What other qualities are essential for leading a lean transformation?
The second pitfall, lack of continuous commitment, highlights the need for resilience.
Okay.
A truly inspired leader doesn't give up easily. They understand that lean is a marathon, not a sprint. And they're prepared for the long haul. They're able to bounce back from setbacks, stay focused on that long-term vision, and keep the team motivated, even when the going gets tough.
It's about having that grit and determination to see the journey through to the end.
Yes.
What about our industry is different excuse? What kind of leader can overcome that kind of resistance to change?
This pitfall points to the need for vision and adaptability. An inspired lean leader can see beyond the status quo and envision a future where things operate more efficiently and effectively. They're not afraid to challenge conventional thinking, experiment with new ideas, and adapt their approach based on the unique circumstances of their organization.
So we're building a picture of an ideal lean leader, someone who is humble, resilient, visionary, and adaptable. But as we're talking about all these amazing qualities, I can't help but wonder if it's even possible for one person to embody all of them. It seems like a lot to ask.
That's a valid point,
Yeah.
and it raises an important distinction. Leadership doesn't have to be solely about individual heroes.
Okay.
It's also about building strong teams
Okay.
and fostering a culture
Right.
where leadership is distributed throughout the organization.
That's a relief. It takes some of that pressure off the individual leader and recognizes that everyone has the potential to contribute to a culture of continuous improvement.
Exactly. An inspired leader understands they don't have to do it all themselves.
Yeah.
They focus on empowering others to step up and lead in their own areas of expertise.
So instead of searching for the perfect lean leader, we should be looking for organizations where leadership is shared, distributed, and constantly evolving.
That's a much more realistic and sustainable approach. And it brings us back to the idea that lean is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly learning, adapting, and growing together.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel like we've gone beyond just understanding the technical aspects of lean and really delved into the heart of what makes it work, the human element.
I agree. And I think that's a key takeaway for our listener. Lean isn't just about tools and techniques. It's about people, culture, and leadership.
But speaking of moving on, our source also talks about the importance of monitoring the lean journey and celebrating both successes and failures.
Yeah.
How can organizations effectively track their progress and learn from their experiences?
That's a crucial element of the lean journey. And it's often overlooked. It's not enough to just implement lean principles. You need to have a system for measuring results, identifying areas for improvement, and adapting your approach along the way. We'll dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
That sounds like a perfect place to pick up next time. Welcome back to our deep dive on lean manufacturing. We've explored the history, the cultural aspects, and the leadership qualities that drive successful lean transformations. Now, as promised, let's shift gears and talk about monitoring the lean journey and the significance of celebrating both successes and failures along the way.
Yeah, it's a crucial aspect that often gets overlooked. It's not enough to just set things in motion. You need to keep a close eye on how things are progressing, measure results, and learn from every step you take.
It's like setting off on a hike. You wouldn't just blindly follow the trail without checking your map, making sure you have enough water, or adjusting your pace based on the terrain.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You need a system for tracking your progress, identifying potential obstacles, and making course corrections as needed. That's where the concept of continuous improvement really comes into play.
Our source highlights the importance of celebrating successes and acknowledging failures as part of this continuous improvement process. Why is that so important?
While celebrating successes is crucial for building momentum and reinforcing positive behaviors, it acknowledges the hard work and dedication of the team, boosting morale and motivation.
It's like giving a standing ovation to a team after a winning performance. It shows them that their efforts are recognized and appreciated, inspiring them to keep striving for excellence.
Precisely. And acknowledging failures is just as important, if not more so. It's about creating a culture where mistakes are seen as valuable learning opportunities, not reasons for blame or punishment.
The source specifically cautions against punishing failures, saying it will only serve to destroy faith and confidence within the organization.
Yeah, that's because a culture of fear and blame really stifles innovation and risk-taking. People become afraid to speak up, share ideas, or experiment with new approaches because they're worried about being reprimanded if things don't go perfectly.
It's like trying to learn a new skill, like playing a musical instrument, while constantly worrying about hitting the wrong notes. You'll never develop the confidence to truly express yourself and explore the possibilities.
That's a great analogy. A no-blame culture, on the other hand, encourages people to experiment and learn from their mistakes. They know that even if they stumble, they'll be supported and encouraged to try again.
So it's about creating a safe space for learning and growth, where failures are seen as valuable data points that can inform future improvements.
Exactly. Think of it as a scientific experiment. You formulate a hypothesis, test it out, analyze the results, and use those insights to refine your approach. Even if the experiment doesn't yield the desired outcome, you still gain valuable knowledge that can inform your next iteration.
That's a great way to reframe failures, turning them into opportunities for learning and growth.
And that's the essence of continuous improvement. It's an ongoing cycle of planning, doing, checking, and adjusting.
It's like a feedback loop, constantly iterating and refining based on new information and insights. But how do you actually track progress and make those adjustments?
Well, that's where clear metrics and systems for monitoring come in. Our source highlights the importance of visual controls and daily accountability.
Visual controls. I'm imagining a dashboard that displays key performance indicators in a clear and easy to understand way, like a speedometer showing you how fast you're going.
Exactly. Visual controls provide a real-time snapshot of how things are progressing, allowing teams to quickly identify areas that need attention.
And daily accountability ensures that everyone is aware of their responsibilities and that progress is being tracked consistently.
It's about creating a culture of ownership and responsibility where everyone is committed to achieving shared goals.
So we've talked about celebrating successes, learning from failures, and monitoring progress. How do we bring all of this together to create a truly thriving lean culture?
The key is to embed these principles into the very fabric of the organization. It's not just about having a designated lean department or implementing a few isolated projects. It's about transforming the way everyone thinks and works.
Our source describes lean leadership as generating culture, systems, and processes that ensure a successful transformation.
That's a great point. It's not just about top-down directives. It's about fostering a culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute to continuous improvement.
It's like having a garden where everyone is a gardener, constantly tending to the plants, nurturing their growth, and ensuring the health of the entire ecosystem.
That's a beautiful analogy. And just like a garden, a lean culture needs constant attention and care to flourish. It's not a one-time project, it's an ongoing journey.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into lean manufacturing. We've covered the historical context, the crucial role of culture and leadership, and the importance of monitoring progress and learning from both successes and failures.
And we've seen how these principles can be applied not just within organizations, but also in our personal lives.
Absolutely. To our listener, we hope this deep dive has equipped you with a deeper understanding of lean thinking and its transformative potential. As you continue on your own lean journey, we leave you with a final question to ponder. What does improvement really mean in the context of your work or personal life? What are you striving to improve, and how can the principles of lean help you get there?
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
Thank you for joining us. We'll be back soon with another deep dive, but until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for excellence.